Okay. Hi, Kelly. As I've been on 18 million conference calls today, I've been thinking about the best way to try to explain and answer some of the questions that you have. And the first thing that came to mind was, I know that I kind of detailed and I sent you all sorts of information about how vaccines work, but sometimes a picture's worth 1,000 words. So I stole my kid's chalkboard, and I'm going to kind of show you a little bit of the virus and all that kind of stuff, because I think it'll help make sense of some of the stuff when I answer down the line too. Okay, so virus is either single-stranded or double-stranded RNA or DNA. Okay, that's just genetic material, and it's enclosed in an envelope. It's got lipids and proteins, fats and proteins around it. Okay, and the proteins that stick out. Okay, let's say this one's a triangle protein. Okay, and it's got lots of these. It's got a triangle. I hope you can see this, by the way. Okay, it's also got other proteins. Hold on, it even has colors. Okay, other proteins that stick up on the outside. Okay, now your body comes along, your immune system, okay, T cells and B cells floating around in your blood, your immune system comes along and it says, sees this, here's your happy cells, right? And they go, whoa, that's not normal. That's an invader. We need to get rid of that. But it can't just immediately, boom, get rid of it. It's got to make an antibody, okay? So these proteins that stick out, these are called antigens, okay? So when your cells see it, they go back inside and they make a protein, okay, that's going to come out, and you'll see antibodies usually look like a Y, okay? And there's a lot of reasons why that, but I won't go into it, okay? But either way, this one is going to be, oh, it recognizes the heart protein. And then, I don't have that many colors, but okay. I have a different antibody that recognizes the triangle proteins, okay? And remember, these are just proteins, okay? This is the same as chicken, beef, any other protein. Enzymes are proteins, eggs, proteins, anything that's a protein. A protein is just a chain of amino acids, okay? You have a chain of amino acids, boom, 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 and then they all fold up and, you know, they look like a crazy little protein, okay? So, first thing I want to go back to is, how does your cells make these, okay? And that has to do with what's called the central dogma of science, I think. Okay, and that is DNA, RNA, protein. Oh, it's really hard to write and hold this. This is bad handwriting. Okay. So, this happens in every single cell of your body, okay? DNA, your chromosomes, code for certain things, right? They code for these proteins, but they get there by way of RNA, okay? So DNA is transcribed into RNA. It's actually called messenger RNA, okay? And there are other types of RNA. Your article mentions tRNA, that's transfer RNA, okay? But DNA, your cell with your 46 chromosomes, it's got DNA in it, and it's going to code for a specific protein. And there's all sorts of magic that happens, and Rui, my friend that I keep tagging on a lot of these posts, did a great doctorate on studying how the chromosomes open up and actually get from point A to point B. So DNA has to get transcribed into RNA, okay? Messenger RNA. And once you have this double-stranded DNA, it gets transcribed into single-strand messenger RNA. Then it gets translated into a protein. And what happens is your transfer RNA which is just a form of RNA that brings amino acids to the party, okay? So your messenger RNA is going to code for aspartate, glutamate, histidine. Boy, I can't even remember all 20 amino acids, which is pretty bad. Maybe I could. Anyways, a bunch of different amino acids, okay? And you got these things that come to the party and they read the code and then they say, oh, need an aspartate, boom. So now we have an aspartate in the chain. They read the next code, it says, oh, need a glutamate in the chain. Oh, need a histidine in the chain, okay? And so on, need a lysine in the chain. All the way down until you have however many amino acids are in that protein, okay? So now you have this chain of proteins, which once it's done and released, it will naturally fold into what's called its native conformation, okay? The way that this vaccine works is they are putting in messenger RNA. Now, most vaccines, like the flu vaccine, okay, what they've done in the flu vaccine is they've grown up a bunch of this virus. It gets grown in chicken eggs, okay? Grown up tons and tons and tons of this virus. Then the first thing they do is kill it. They kill it with formaldehyde. It breaks this open, kills it. So this is no longer around. Now all you have is some gobbledygook with a bunch of proteins. You don't even have these antibodies, okay? All you have is these proteins. Then they go through purification step, and suddenly they have a pile of just antigens, okay? This is what gets injected into you, the proteins, okay? So people who say, I got the flu from the flu, not possible, because there is no virus in it, okay? Unless you got the nasal one, which I think that they've discontinued, but a couple years ago you could get a nasal one that you sniffed up your nose, and that had what's called an attenuated virus, which means the virus was still there, but it's kind of injured. So in theory, you shouldn't get the full flu. But I digress. Anyways, so again, proteins, that's what gets injected in. The way this new COVID vaccine works is the mRNA gets injected in. Your body, your own body, reads it and goes, oh, just make another protein, because that's what your body does all day long. It's all it does, make proteins. Some of those proteins end up being enzymes that help digest your food. It's in your saliva. Some of those enzymes help break down carbohydrates so that you have energy. Some of those enzymes help build muscle, right? Your body's full of proteins and enzymes. Okay, so this COVID vaccine, mRNA gets injected. Your body's like, oh, another mRNA coming through. Boom, builds a protein, but it happens to code for some of these antigens, okay? In this case, I'm pretty sure it's the N1, N2 proteins, but I could be wrong because there are different, there's a lot of different proteins. Oh, a spike protein, right? And then your body sees these floating around and it does this, builds antibodies. But you can't get COVID. There's no virus. It can't go backwards from here to here. Can't do it, okay? Plus, you don't have the lipids surrounding it and everything all, so it can't do it, okay? So, the DNA, the RNA, or messenger RNA to protein, that's what's called the central dogma. It's what rules the world and what rules life and biology. So that's what I wanted to share with you, and I have to jump on another call. But so this will be a several installment answer. But hopefully this helped, okay? And feel free to tell me, like, no more videos, just type it out. Totally up to you. Okay, thanks.